What's going on, guys? So today we're talking about a new forbidden and limited list. But there's a lot of crazy things to get to. Konami, I'm actually very happy with this ban list. There's a few cards that I actually wanted to get banned, and two of them actually did end up on this list, which I'm really, really happy about. That's one reason why I'm super happy about this list. But another reason was because I didn't really think the format needed that much changing as far as cards coming onto the ban list. I thought cards coming off the ban list was going to make a bigger impact, and that's exactly what happened. Starting with Magispector Unicorn Corinne. In my opinion, this is one of the best monsters Konami's ever created. Untargetable, undestroyable, 2000 attack. It's super great, but my least favorite thing about this card is that main Magispectors don't use it. Main Magispectors have this stunny type where they like to rely on their trap cards and spell cards, and they don't really ever summon Corinne. Unless they, sometimes they'll tribute summon to run, but some decks don't even run Corinne. But it's the decks like Metaphors and Magicians, back when those cards were really strong. Those decks were the ones that were running Corinne, and that didn't really seem fair to me. It's a super strong card. I'm super glad it's banned, and it needs to stay there. Another card, this one might surprise you, but the OCG just spent like a good month and a half with the Tyrant Neptune combo. I'm not 100% sure about what the combo is, because I don't play in the OCG. Um, but this is a preemptive strike on the Tyrant Neptune, essentially. A new card did just get banned. Vanity's Emptiness. Vanity's Emptiness went from limited to banned completely, and it's absolutely phenomenal to sound like Team Sam. Like, this was a card that, in my opinion, was an auto win. If you drew it, regardless of what deck you were using, you won. And that's not a card, in my opinion, that deserves to be in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! There are a lot of worse cards on. There are a lot of cards that are worse than Vanity's Emptiness that were banned, and there was a solid reason why Vanity's Emptiness should have been at one. And it was the type of card like if it gets flipped face up, you lose. And not only that, but you usually don't see it coming either. Like, you're not like, it's not like your opponent's like, I'm setting Vanity's Emptiness. Like, no, you usually like, you construct your play around special summoning, and your opponent activates Vanity's Emptiness. And it's just like, okay. And so you just ended up having to scoop. New bannings weren't too exciting, but when you get to the limiting, that's actually where this ban list gets quite interesting. But for starters, Maxi is now at 1. This is kind of like, this card is like walks the line perfectly in between a really balanced card that's good for the meta and keeps it in check, and a really busted card that's an auto win. And I think that Maxi is, it was starting to linger more towards the left side. I know the reason I got rid of DDDs was because if my opponent activated Maxi during my turn, it was either give my opponent 8 cards or lose. And I'm going to lose if I give my opponent 8 free cards in this meta. So you can't, like, Maxi is such a difficult card, but it is a necessary card. It's a necessary evil, which is why I was fine with it at 2. I was fine with it at 3, to be honest, but I'm most certainly fine with it at 1. And also, Rescue Cat was forbidden and is now limited. I think a lot of people saw this coming, though, because Rescue Cat is receiving an errata in not Maximum Crisis, but like the Duelist Saga, the next set that's coming out. Well, not the next set, but the next packs that are coming out. A Rescue Cat's getting errata, so that's probably why that is now on the on the limited list. Brio, the Dragon of the Ice Barrier, joins the other 2 ice barriers on the limited list, but I'm glad to see that it's back. And now we get to the spells. First off, Brain Control. Brain Control is a card that I thought could have came back a while ago as well. The fact that it targets makes it kind of bad. Even though Corinne's now banned and Dark Destroyer's at 1, there are still a lot of cards that, if they're targeted, they can dodge that. Like, for example, there's a Zodiac monster. There's a Zodiac monster, I don't remember what, it might be Ram, that negates spells that target Xyz monsters. That's just an example. You have to pay 800, you have to give it back during the end phase, but it's not limited like Mind Control. So I'm excited. I think this is like, I think Konami's definitely testing a lot of cards, kind of like what they did with Snatch Steal 2 years ago. I think they're doing that with a couple of cards that I think might end up getting banned again after this, because the next one is Future Fusion. Now, when I saw, when I was looking at the ban list initially, I was like looking just for the was forbidden or was semi-limited type stuff, and I saw was forbidden and Future Fusion, and I like looked at it 4 or 5 times, like, wait, they really let Future Fusion come back? I remember maybe a year ago I talked about I had a poll on Animo Yu-Gi-Oh, which you should definitely get on and follow me there. It's under the same name as my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Um, and I was like, which stronger, super polymerization or future fusion? And then super poly won, but future fusion is such a strong card. I remember a friend of mine a couple months ago said he couldn't wait for future fusion to come back because then Chaos Dragons be number one. I think this card being at one and Chaos Dragons being kind of power creep, that's not necessarily true. But the fact that this card just it fuels the grave so well, and you have Star Venom Dragon who needs dark monsters. You have the five-headed dragon who just needs five dragons, and you have dragons like Arcbrave Dragon who can summon or Morphage Goliath. That combo is significantly easier now that Future Fusion's a thing. There's just so many different ways to apply this card now than there was before. I think this card's going to be a one format type thing. I don't think this card's going to stay limited. I think it's going to go back to the ban list very soon. Speaking of which, this has got to be a typo because this is the craziest thing. In my opinion, this is the craziest thing on the ban list. Imperial Order goes from forbidden to limited. For those who don't know what Imperial Order is, I'll compare it with another card, Anti-Spell Fragrance. Anti-Spell Fragrance is a card that I was surprised wasn't on this list, because Anti-Spell Fragrance is almost an auto-win as well, especially against Pendulum-based decks, but against any deck, really. Anti-Spell is one of the best floodgates in the game. Okay, Anti-Spell, super, super good, ban-worthy card. It's actually one of the most expensive commons as well, the common version of it. That good, that great of a card. Imperial Order, it's not super better. It's not like significantly better than Anti-Spell Fragrance, but it is a lot better than Anti-Spell Fragrance. It's a once per turn effect, or it's actually not a once per turn effect. You have to pay 700 life points. Either person can use it, and you can negate the activation of a spell card. But now we go to the semi-limited. Not as exciting. Wisdom Eye Magician, that got semi-limited. It was limited. And so, like, Wisdom Eye coming back, that's good for the archetype. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that the archetype is getting new support soon, Magician Pendulum. But Joker's still at one, so not the hugest difference. But Zodiac Rapier, the card literally right underneath it, was at 3 and now it is at 2. This is definitely a card I thought they should have hit. Because if Rapier was at 1, it would have no effect, essentially. It would have its first effect when it's normal summoned, but it wouldn't have the secondary effect would be useless. And it was already at 3. So they would either ban it or put it at 2. And so they put it at 2, but I just don't know if there's a situation where if I'm making MX Saber Invoker, I would rather summon Rapier than Viper. I think Viper is just a significantly better card because it banishes monsters that attack the Zodiac Xyz. It gives them actual attack boosts as well. So I just don't think that Rapier is going to be as necessary as it was before. And then the last card that is now semi-limited is Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. My opinion, this is kind of like when Maxi went from 3 to 2. Like I don't really like. I like 3 Slumber in Kaiju Gradles or like pure Kaijus, but I don't really like 3 Slumber as the engine Kaijus. So I don't really see why it going to 2 is that big of a deal. It definitely is a super powerful card that deserves to be somewhere on this list, but I think limited and banned might have been a little bit better. And then the kind of the theme of this ban list is like nothing too exciting and cards that are probably going to be banned soon again because you have Imperial Order back, Future Fusion back, maybe even Brain Control might go back as well to being banned, and Sangon went from bans completely to 3. It's scary that this card's going to be coming back, especially because BAPK has been lingering in between the Tier 2, Tier 1 list. So I think that Zoo getting hurt, along with Sangon coming back, I think that's really going to help out BAPK, or just pure Burning Abyss. But really, I was trying to make this as informative as possible. Initially, I wanted to do this list as like a reaction video, like me just looking at it immediately. But then I got a tweet saying that the ban list had been out, and I couldn't resist. I had to see it. I was like, I had to see this ban list because it really has been a super long time since we got on the ban list. I hope that you're satisfied with what got banned. If you're not, feel free to let me know what you don't like in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Send a message to YouTube asking why the dislike button's even a thing. But most importantly, have a great day.